Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I am Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, here to help guide you on your burning adventure. And I'm joined today with hubby.
Hubcap.
And I'm going to continue working on Iris, but I don't see me. Why am I not playing? What?
I don't think this is muted.
I muted it.
I heard.
I know. For some reason, I'm not getting any camera. You can't see my hands. What is going on? I tried setting up a second camera. Let's see now if you can see me move.
No.
Okay, guys, I'm going to be right back. I got to figure out what this is, so stay here. I'm just going to use this. Audio and visual is good. Can you see my hands moving? Because I can't.
I would restart it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be right back. Hold on. Hopefully, we are back. Says we're good. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully you'll be able to see this time. Is everybody still here? Are we still streaming?
I'm checking now.
There we go. There it is. We got hands. Hands here.
It says hands. Eve says yes. Can you hear us?
Oh, I'm so sorry about that, guys. I tried to do something special.
Richie's here.
Hi, Richie. I tried to hook up a second camera to show you what the temperature is as I'm burning, but it obviously does not want to work with me.
What you didn't know is that I sabotaged it because that's my job to tell you temperature, job security.
Oh, so sorry about that, guys.
1, camera 0.
Yeah, definitely camera 0.
Can't replace me.
Hi, Eve. Hi, Paul, Sheila, Grace, Richie, Tony, Heather. Thank you for sticking around.
Let's see.
I tried.
Cynique.
Hi, Scene.
Adele.
Adele?
Yep.
Hi, Adele.
I'm looking at Sheila. Did you say hi to Sheila?
I did.
Okay.
Do we have Andrew?
Philip?
Hi, Philip. No, I did not say hi to Philip.
Okay.
All right.
Of course, Paul. I don't see Andrew yet.
Not yet? Okay. He'll show
Looking
up.
for wrenches. The only wrench I see is Eve, so.
Okay. Well, I'm picking up. I did not work on this at all.
Hey, Richie.
At all. Because I was working on another project, so we are literally just picking up where we left off. And so I'll get to burning since things didn't want to work.
Oh, no.
What?
Heather.
Oh.
Let the punning commence.
You know what? Right now,
Just don't look at the screen.
I will take Heather's punning.
I will filter everything.
Yeah, that's all right. After what I just put them through, pun away. I'll probably regret that later.
Yes.
So I'm actually not on the easel today because I wanted to be able to show different pens and tips, since we're going to be talking about the fixed tip versus interchangeable, and I wanted to be able to have everything handy. I really thought everything was going to be smooth. That's what I get for thinking. So I'm just picking up where I left off. And now this is the Optima Spear Shader. I'm on 2. Oh yeah, now I gotta remember to tell you where I'm at. This is a fixed tip. So that means I can't switch out these tips. But that can be a very good thing depending on what you're looking for. And I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I started off with interchangeable tips, and in less than a year switched over very quickly to the fixed tip. And the biggest reason why is the interchangeable tips are not as stable. Your heat can fluctuate big time with those pins. And I think that's probably the biggest downfall of them. So, let me show you a couple of interchangeable tips.
We have Vicky Charman in chat.
Hi, Vicky.
Also, Luana, Therese, Jarecki, Linda.
Hi, Luana.
A lot of names.
Yep, a lot of names. So these are all interchangeable tips. We have Colwood, Burnmaster, Nibs Burner, and Razor Tip. All three of these brands, when Nibs Burner is available or you find them used online, you can also get in fixed tip. Burnmaster is the only one you cannot get in fixed tip. Just like with Optima, you can only get it in fixed tip. So when looking at these, it's a lot of pins and a lot of choices, and you're like, well, what do I do? These are good to start with just to make sure you like burning. You know what? No, I'm not even going to go that far. The hard thing is fixed tip costs more, and that's because you're getting the full pin. It's not just the tip. The tips are cheaper.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just waiting for a comment from Heather.
Oh. My colors. I don't like my colors. Let me see if I can do that. Is that a little better for you guys? Yeah.
Richie says his interchangeable tips don't work well with shading tips.
I don't like interchangeable for any of them. I really don't. They lose heat. The easiest one to pop out actually is the Colwood, and you don't need the clamp. The reason these are unstable is because these connectors right here and inside your pin, which I don't think I can catch white, they start to oxidize as you're burning, and the more oxidization there is, the less of a stable connection you have. And as you go, you'll find you'll have to turn up your heat higher and higher and higher. For the same burn that you were doing at 2, you're up to 4 and 5. The pin's getting hotter because you're at a higher heat, but you're still burning really low, and that causes a problem. Now, let's see here. This is a newer Nibs tip, and I can't get it out. This one has no connector inside. It's just the wire stuck in the brass. And as you can see with Razor Tip and Burnmaster, you have screws to mess with, which I have to tell you, I hate messing with these screws.
Especially when they're hot.
Well, you do need to let them cool off before you switch out. That's why you tend to have at least two pins, so you can just unplug, switch.
That's a good tip, because I wouldn't have thought of that, honestly. Because metal expands and contracts as it heats, so.
Yes.
Heats and cools.
Now, everybody says they want interchangeable because, I can have all these tips, and Razor Tip has over 200 tips, yada, yada, yada. But these are my, let's see here, Razor Tips on this side, Burnmasters on this side. And if I pull out the Razor Tip that I have, out of all the tips that I have purchased, because I was like, hey, same as everybody else, more the better. Gives me options and whatnot. These are the only tips in this box that I've actually used. Oh, sorry. There's one more. One more. The rest of them have never been used in any way. So you don't have to have all these tips. A lot of them all do the same exact thing. The biggest one was I wanted the different ball tips because prior to getting the Burnmaster, I never had a ball tip. And so I wanted them all.
There it is, Heather. Never mind. Grace says, dang, Val, that's quite the collection.
And there's people that have more, but I'll tell you what, you're not going to use them. And as for my Burnmaster, I use the ball tips the most.
We call the people that have more the manufacturers.
Yeah. I've plugged this one in, but not really used it. I plugged this one in to try it and didn't like it. And these are all the ones that come with the Burnmaster. But the rest of these, oh, no, there's one that's discolored. All these SKUs, they all do the same damn thing, and I don't like them. So, save your money. You're going to get a lot more use out of getting a couple of pens that you like and you use all the time versus trying to get all the pens. They're not Pokemons. You don't have to get them all. I suffer from full set syndrome all the time. But in this case, you figure I bought this set of 10, I think it's 10 ball tips. And I easily spent $50 on this set through Razor Tip. But I haven't even used half of them.
So, Jesse James Ramirez is here.
Hi, Jesse.
Did you say hi to Paul Lockwood?
I did. That was the Paul I said hi to.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I was thinking that you were saying hi to the other Paul.
No.
He's not here, though, is he?
No.
Oh, okay. So, the reason why is because every time that you have you gotta think about electricity like water. And every time that you have a connection, it's like having a point of constriction in a water hose. And so it's like, imagine if you screwed multiple water hoses together, which some people have done. But imagine that each water hose that you lose some water, and then it gets a little bit harder. Like each hose is smaller, and that's what happens because with different, even if the materials are the same, even if it's the same metal that the electricity is trying to push through, every time there's a connection that's not a molecularly, seamless barrier, it has to push harder to go across it. And when it does that, it creates resistance and heat. And so the more connections that you have, the electricity has to go through, the more heat that's produced, the more power that you have to push through to get the same result at the end of the pen. And this is why sometimes with, I think fixed tips, or not fixed tips, with interchangeable tips, that they can get hotter because there's more connections that electricity is trying to push through, and you got to go higher. And because of that interchange of materials there it also wears at that point as well. And so there's a lot of things working against you where, the idea for a fixed tip pen is to try and eliminate as many of those connections as possible, and it actually will create longer life for your tool, and you'll be able to burn lower and more efficiently, and it shouldn't get as hot.
No, the other pins can get hot, and it depends on how the tip is designed as to whether or not they do. Now, this is a Razor Tip Interchangeable, and this is their fixed tip. It's the only one fixed tip of theirs I have.
Paul says, I think after last week, we know your thoughts on Razor Tip.
I'm trying to be good.
Richie says...
And just discuss the tips.
Richie says, you're so right. I use only 2 tips most of the time. Vicki Charman has a question. You got multiple questions. So.
Oh, please.
Can Optima pins be connected to a Razor Tip machine?
Technically, yes, they can. The question is, should you? Now, okay. Now going from Optima pen to razor tip. Let me grab a cord.
The problem with that is going to be that each machine's manufacturer. If you're going to say this, you can shut me down. Just say, shut up.
Listen. Well, let me finish this thought.
Okay.
Okay. So that's razor tip cord. Optima pen. It don't work. You would have to use the Optima cord. Let me turn that off. I got all these cords. Still need to build a cart.
That's my job.
I'll build it. All right. So we can take the Colwood cord, plug that in. I'm gonna have to stand up for this because my razor tip's higher up. Oh. The Optima cord fits a little differently in the base. Oh, I got that one. Okay. So I have the razor tip turned on. And I'm at a 4. This is going to be the ball tip. The razor tip has a little less power. It's going to take longer to heat up this ball tip. And also, if you're used to a certain setting, like I'm used to a 4 on Optima being, getting pretty darn hot and brown. But this, with the razor tip, is not going to heat quite as hot because of the power. But yes, with a Optima cord, you can use Optima pins on the base. And actually at 4, this isn't doing too bad.
So the one thing that I would like to point out on all this is that each manufacturer manufactures their pins and tips to be compatible with their base. So just like Val said, you got to make adjustments. And the problem can be too that there is a slight danger of using a base, especially when you're going down in gauges and wire, that if you have to be very careful, because if one company is using a base and their pins are like heavy gauge wires and that's what they use, then they're probably going to be pushing more power through that wire. And if you try and do a smaller gauge wire, you could risk damaging that.
The biggest issue, the biggest problem where you could find that is with the razor tip and Burnmaster. That's where the biggest issue is on heat, in regards to the Burnmaster tips and our Burnmaster base and razor tip pins.
So you've got some questions. I got to get caught up. First off, Vicky Sherman has a question. Can Optima pins be connected to a razor tip machine?
No, just did that.
Oh, sorry. I'm just reading the questions.
Just did that. Oh, she repeated. I'm sorry, Vicky. So yes, with an Optima cord, you can use an Optima pin on a razor tip base.
Moody John would like to say hello, and have you tried to make your own custom tips?
Hello, and yes, I have, and no, I don't like it.
Okay. Philip Ayakabachi is here.
Hi, Philip.
And so is Lisa Fuhrmeister.
Hi, Lisa. It's been a long time. Missed ya.
Yes, Grace. She has to hear it first before telling me to shut up.
What?
Nothing. Let's see. Oh, okay. Laura Music is here.
Hi, Laura. You said there was more questions.
I'm looking. Okay, I guess that's it.
Oh.
If I missed anything, let me know.
Okay, so I had mentioned the razor tip and Burnmaster. Burnmaster advertises that you can use razor tip on their base. The thing is you have a voltage difference between the Burnmaster and the razor tip. Excuse me. You also have a wire thickness difference for the tips themselves. And in doing that, let's see here, I'll plug in. This is going to get hot, and I'm not going to do it before a minute. Because I originally bought the Burnmaster because it said use razor tip.
I mean, it's technically true.
It is technically true in that you have to use their adapter, and the adapter, I don't think, nope, I don't have on hand. It's over there.
It's an RCA adapter.
It's an RCA adapter. In fact, I should just get it because people may not realize what that is.
So the RCA adapter is really good, but it's mainly meant for audio, and so a little bit more power running through it.
Actually, I think it's between your legs.
It's what?
There's a case down there for the Burnmaster, and I think I keep that in the case.
Case for the Burnmaster?
Yeah.
Between my legs. How'd you manage that?
Yeah, it's me.
I don't see it.
It's a black case.
Is it a soft case?
Yeah, it is a soft case. I'm just rearranging the studio again, live. I thought I had everything.
I think they know what an RCA adapter looks like, though.
Yeah, but I want to show what actually comes with.
Well, here's the kit. Good Lord, you're making a mess.
I know.
Why are you tearing up everything?
Oh, I had one of those. I didn't have to buy another one. Don't you hate when that happens?
Yeah.
And screws. In that bag, is it in there?
I don't know. I'm looking.
I'm almost positive it is because
Yep.
I had to pull it up for the review.
Here you go.
Sorry, guys. There's a good reason. Yep. No. Yes. No.
Yeah.
There's another one. No, that's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
That one
looks
doesn't
like the
work.
right one.
No. Look, 2 males.
Oh, there's my screwdriver.
Oh gosh. I used it in the Optima review, so it should be close by. I don't use it often.
This one?
Is that male?
No.
Nope, I need
it's the
male.
same one. Yeah, I'm looking, but I don't see it. No, it's not in here. Can you show this for like an example of what one would look like? Because it does look like this.
Yeah,
With a minor difference.
It's drive me nuts.
Okay, but you got work to do.
I know I got work to do, but it's better to show.
But it's a blank screen right now.
No, not fully. And they're listening to me be all... Alright, fine. Not what I want to do, but I'll do it. Aha, wait a minute. I got all these little nooks and crannies where I can put stuff.
Quiet, Heather.
What did she do this time?
Nothing. Yet.
Yep. Well, I couldn't connect it, but...
Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to ask questions.
Yes, please.
Okay?
Yes, please.
All right. Grace says, did you lie to her, Jason? Oh, I would never do that. Luana wants to know, how often do you burn yourself?
None.
Okay, that's good.
Aha, there it is. It was right in front of me the whole time. In my little cola case.
Oh my god. Good thing we didn't tear up the studio for that.
I knew I kept it close.
Wait, no, we did.
I did.
Sorry,
guys.
Richie wants to know. Yeah, you've said you're giving her too much material. True. Richie asked, do you think we should always have heavy-duty cords?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I think you have more versatility with heavy-duty cords. You don't have to worry about switching them out. It just works better that way. So this is the RCA jack that comes with the Burnmaster. When they claim that you can use the razor tip pins on it.
Oh, I have a about the heavy duty cords.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the water analogy and electricity. No, this is important. So like if you think about your, garden hose or whatever, the smaller the garden hose, the less water that you can get through it at once. And then so you can turn on your spout at the house all the way, but only so much water is going to come out. It'll come out at higher pressure, but it's only going to come out so much. And that's a lot of pressure on that hose. So the larger diameter of hose that you have, easy, is going to mean that it takes there's less back pressure, and that the water flows more easily. And it's the same thing with electricity. The narrower gauges create more resistance, and which creates more heat along the path.
Okay, so I'm set on 2. Even with a fixed tip, a ball tip from razor tip does not burn that dark. That's because there's more power coming through. And in doing this, the pin's already warming up at 2, which it really shouldn't be. If I give this a minute, this will heat up. But there's another big thing that's not really talked about, is because I've got this extra metal piece, this is weighing down on the back of my hand and really uncomfortable when you're trying to burn. Especially if you're moving up like this. It is really hard to function this way.
So also that connection, does it or does it not get hot?
It does get hot, and that's one more area where it can fail. So if you look right there, and I'll plug this exact pin in to the razor tip and put it on. I'm exactly on 2 on the Burnmaster so that you can see. I'm even getting some smoke. It shouldn't be burning that hot. It's not warm, but metal tends to be cool, and this is not cool either. And the longer you burn, the more it's going to cause.
Well, and that's an unprotected, unguarded area too. So that's one other area that you have to worry about burning yourself on.
Yes. Let's see here. Okay.
Someday we should let me burn and just see how many times I burn myself in an hour.
I don't want you to. Oh, wrong cord.
Also, okay, so we got some more stuff. Lisa says, Lisa's just happy to be back, and she loved the way the orchids turn out.
Thank you. So this is the razor tip. I put it on 2. This is the razor tip with the Burnmaster. Let's see here.
Artista 365 has finally got to catch one of the streams.
Hi, Artista. It's been a while. Let's see here. Yeah, you're making sure it's on.
Yeah, Grace says that with it being so long, it seems awkward, like a long paintbrush.
It does.
I don't like using long paintbrushes either, Grace.
So this is on. This is at 2, just like for the Burnmaster.
But you're not getting anything.
0 burn.
Yeah.
I'm connected completely. Yep.
So which pin is that?
Let me make sure that this is pushed down all the way. I hate pushing cords into the razor tip. It's so weak.
You're so weak?
No, the faceplate on razor tip is so weak. There's only one screw that holds in.
Oh, I can see it flex.
Yeah.
Oh.
See? I mean, that's just...
No bueno.
No bueno.
I did not know that. I am what you call a lay person. And I know about electricity, but I don't know about burning.
So, yep, I have 0 burn, and I'm not going to touch the tip, because... Here, you want to touch it?
No. I'm not.
So, let's just make sure it's working.
My Corey or Trevor.
Interesting.
What's interesting?
Well, I'm seeing the light get darker or brighter as I turn up the heat.
Didn't somebody say that?
Yeah, Richie did.
Yeah.
All right, so I bumped it up to 5 just to make sure this is working.
There could also be a heat transfer problem down at the tip too because of the way that the ball tip is attached. So,
no, it's not the razor tip's fault.
It's not?
Nope, I just realized it.
What's the problem?
I had the wrong side flipped.
Oh.
It's my fault.
Okay, there's honesty.
All right, so this is 2 on the correct side. That was my fault.
All right, so, but we still have, let's see, there's where the tip screws in, and then you've got the connection in the back, and then the connection at the machine itself. So the connection and the machine, they're all going to have.
All right, now we got some burn. Yeah. Okay.
But that's 2 more points of resistance. And isn't this one is one of those pins that's vented?
Yes.
You're going to feel that heat.
So that's a 2 on the razor tip for the exact same pin.
Yeah.
So I know I gotta get back to the tips, but I just wanted to show that yes, technically you can use the razor tip pins on the Barnmasters, but no, you shouldn't. It's just not. It's not safe.
I wasn't ignoring you, Grace. I was selectively ignoring just that one comment of yours.
All right, so we did that.
I'm
trying to think what else.
Well, Jackson's Shin says hello.
Hello.
And says, if you know how to solder, you could make your own cords with the correct connectors. Yeah, you could, but...
I'm not going to void my warranty on any of my burners. I'm just not interested in doing that.
But I mean, yeah, you could.
I mean, yes, you could. I'm just not interested in that as an aspect for me. I don't use the razor tip very often. But I also don't want to mess it up either.
So, Kenny Dion has a question. Thinking about getting an Optima, debating over single or dual. Being that both pins aren't running at the same time, do you think there would be more value in getting an extra pin instead?
You get 2 pins with the dual and 2 cords. 1 pin and 1 cord with the single. I have the dual. The Optima single and double or dual are the exact same power. If you're the dual really is about convenience. That's really all it's about. It's not a necessity. So you could get away quite easily with the single.
Okay.
So if money's a little tight and you're trying to upgrade, but I mean, because you can always buy more pins in the future, the dual is strictly just for convenience.
And Paul says he would guess the material types used between each section could have a massive impact on the current flow. Absolutely. That's why in cookingware, a lot of times that you see, well, not a lot of times, I would say that all the time, that you see that the handles are connected either differently. They're not, the pan and the handle aren't the same unit because it would burn the heck out of you. Yeah. And a lot of times they're different materials. Yeah, a lot of times they're different materials. As well as you see a lot of pans that are different, have different bottoms on them. They're coated differently, and that's also to facilitate the same thing, different levels of heating.
The more you
what is that?
Introduce, I don't know what you do. More you introduce to your connection between your base and your tip, the more energy it takes to heat the tip, because you got all these extra choke points. So the smoother connection works better. The fixed tips are more stable. You're not going to get the heat fluctuating as much as you will, especially the more you use an interchangeable pin and tip. The more you use it, the more it's going to break down the connection. But then you also need to look at, on the fixed tips, how are the tips placed into the brass and held there permanently.
I gotta see what the seal wants.
Okay. For, like I said, I don't have a Coalwood fixed tip. The difference is you can't take it apart, but the brass and the tip itself is the same. This is the razor tip fixed. And I meant to have some pictures pop up for you guys, but I didn't do that either. Well, now if you look at the Coalwood, the actual brass is stamped. It is a square, so you've got a square trying to seat a circle. And then the solder is really just for looks. So you really need to question that, and that's even on their fixed tip. This is just how Coalwood does it. With razor tip, they use a really long brass to make their tips longer because their tips are so small. If they use the regular size brass that other companies tend to use, let's see here. Yeah. The pin is going to be, the tip is going to be closer to the handpiece, which is going to be harder to see and create more heat at your fingers. If you notice, they really don't use any solder. There's a little bit there. Not really. A lot of their stuff is micro weld, and those micro welds fail. Hi, Kenny. Let's see here. I have the money to spend. Was just thinking that it's just as fast to switch pins than flip the switch. Was thinking about going all heavy duty as well. Do you recommend that? I do recommend going all heavy duty. And if you're just looking to have more convenience, it is easier to flip a switch. Not that it's hard to unplug a pin, though it is a pain in the ass to undo the screws. And those are my biggest pet peeve, is having to stop and switch out those screws, especially since one of them, let me see, one of my Burnmaster pins came like this. I didn't do it. One of these, I think, yep, it's on the spoon shader. I left the spoon in because I was using it more. One of the screws actually came stripped, and so I have to use a rubber band in order to unscrew that screw. But if I hadn't figured that out, or the screw broke, I'm screwed. I have to go and buy another pin because I wouldn't be able to get the tip out.
You're screwed because you can't unscrew?
Exactly.
Oh, God.
All those screws. Yes.
Okay, I'm catching up with chat.
I guess answer Kenny's. So.
Kenny. Oh, okay. Wow, all that time?
I don't.
Oh, there's another one. Okay.
Is there? Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
I just glanced up and saw Kenny.
It's just as fast as switch pins and flipping the switch. Going all heavy duty as well. Do you recommend that? Okay, so you got. Mm-hmm.
I do recommend going all heavy duty. You don't have to worry about, if you're burning long periods of time and you're using higher heat, you don't have to worry about having your pin burn out as easily.
Yeah.
So, another reason I don't like working flat is the cord gets cut under my arm.
Ooh, Kenny's using a Versatool now. So he thinks that Optima is going to be an upgrade.
Oh, yes. It will be a very big upgrade.
Yes, great. Screw was said way too many times.
Well, it applied to everything I was saying. So, man.
Let's see.
I am still at a little shy over 2 on the Optima. I can always darken these if I want. In fact, they will be darker. I'm just trying to lay down the base.
Yeah, Paul makes a good point. I guess the Peter Childs, it has interchangeable tips, but it has fixed wires to the machine, so it's one less connector. So it's gonna be less resistance along the path, which is very good. I would say too that whenever you're looking at what to buy, like, okay, I'm talking like I'm an expert, but I'm not.
You just watch me out.
I watch you all the time, yeah. So one factor in choosing what you're going to use, you also need to see what the manufacturer's policy is on replacing tips or repairing, different components. Because I guess if you're mentally and emotionally prepared for connections to burn out, if your manufacturer supports that and you just have to send it in to the manufacturer and say, hey, this is burnt out, replace them, then that's okay.
Except for the fact that Razor Tip only has a 1-year warranty on their pins, and you have to ship them to Canada.
To Canada? Well,
yep.
For someone like Eve, that's easy.
For someone like Eve, that's easy. But somebody like me, on the other end of the, states, North America, I was trying to think of the damn word. That's a pain. And costly to send back a Razor Tip pin and 1 or 2 pins and a wire. It costs about $20.
Oh, okay.
Just to send it back. And I know that because my friend sent hers back.
Eve's singing the Canadian national anthem now.
She's the Canadian.
Oh, Canada. Yeah. I think so. Paul says, go on. We believe every word, Jason.
So you do have to take into account shipping costs if you're having to return your tools. I mean, and no burner is cheap. No wire tip burner other than the Chinese craps on Walmart and Amazon. None of the good professional burners, none of them are cheap. And so do you want to have to keep sending stuff back because you want the cheaper route? I mean, that is something I think needs to be taken into consideration. And I would not have bought, I don't think, I either wouldn't have bought the Razor Tip or the Burn Master if I was not given misinformation by the company itself. And I think that's why they do it. See, I do think it is very smart for a company to have be interchangeable, meaning you can use another brand of pen on its base. Razor Tip is the only one that cuts itself off from that, where you just can't plug into the cord. And why they did that, I don't know. It wasn't smart, because you took away somebody's option, because maybe they like this other brand pen. It just wasn't a smart move to do that. These are really dark. I'm just trying to get them filled in. So the biggest thing to look at is, I think more so than your pocketbook, because the thing is Razor Tip fixed tip pins run $27 to $30. That's hard to swallow for one pen. The fixed tip, which this is not, fixed tip Colwood and Optima run right around $20. And I say it's no different than buying a really good fountain pen. Well, you don't have to worry about...
Kenny apparently is from the bottom of the States, so Canada is so far away.
Yeah, they don't make it easy for you to return.
Mark's here.
Hi, Mark.
CPN.
Yeah, Mark, you caused me issues this morning. Wait a minute, which Mark?
MD Campbell?
Yeah, he caused me issues.
What did Mark do?
His video.
What about it?
Caused me
existential we gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about that.
Yeah, but
no, I think it's a good. You know what? We got time. Let's talk about it.
All right.
You know what? So Mark's video. Wait a minute. Let me see who else is here. Before we get into that, signing our art says, but everything's far away from Finland.
That's true.
And Richie said, Portugal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Paul Lockwood says he wouldn't expect any tool to fail. Tool should last.
Exactly.
Cray says they did it just to spite you, though.
Probably.
And Mark goes, uh-oh. And Brian. I don't know, just Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Says, using Optima, how do you keep heat consistent at the tip while shading without it immediately dissipating?
It doesn't... If you see a lot of times when I'm shading, I'm going in circles. That is my biggest shading move, is circles.
Sorry.
And even if it looks like I'm not picking up, every so often I am just kind of boop, boop. Noise included.
I was going to say...
Lifting the pen to... Let me zoom in. No, don't want to go that way. Go that way. There we go.
MP Langer's here too.
Hi, Patricia. All right. So when I'm shading, I tend to move in small circles, kind of like if I was using a colored pencil or a pencil to shade. Mm-hmm. And I use the speed of my pen, how quickly, as to whether or not I went darker or lighter shades. But with the Optima, I don't have issues of major heat loss as soon as I touch down. That's why I always try to test first, because it's not really an issue. When I slow down more, it'll darken and it will suck more of the heat out of the tip. But this has such a quick recovery time that you really can't tell. Hope I answered that the way you were looking for.
So let me check chat.
I don't know what you're up to. You're all moving around.
Well, I'm getting, because I got that show. So I got it.
Oh, sorry. We're working on homework.
Yep. Okay. So Brian says it pretty much takes patience coming from the versatile. That's.
Oh.
So that's the only negative he notices.
The versatile is like. Let me see here.
And Cynake wants to know if Optima is only available in the USA.
Available where?
In the USA.
No, it's available international. It is international.
So Mark's video. I'm using a paper cutter. Sorry, folks. This will be over quick.
Okay.
That sounds sinister.
Especially since it's a guillotine paper cutter.
Okay.
With its tab.
So Mark's video was about what? Creating art? Like you were when you were a kid?
No, he titled it Unlearning. Basically unlearning how you art.
That sounds very Yoda-esque.
That is, he discusses Yoda at the beginning of the video. So anyway, I will link after the live. I will link it down below if you're interested in going and checking it out and hearing what Mark has to say. But Mark, the reason it caused me issues, you didn't cause me issues, other than you made me think. And early in the morning with not enough coffee, that can be painful.
Yeah.
So you were talking about going back to your roots, kind of. And arting like you did, drawing and playing with art the way you did as a kid. And you were going through your drawings and let's face it, your drawings look just like if a little Mark did it. And that didn't cause me a problem at all. But then I started thinking about me. And that's where the problem began.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. Okay. Upon reflection, even more reflection.
That's pretty formal.
Thanks to Mark. The way I burn and why I'm drawn to burning has a lot to do with how I did art as a kid. I didn't do the loose drawings that most kids do. Thank you, Eve. If you're watching on replay, hopefully, as long as chat's clean, I'll keep the chat. And you can also click on Mark's.
Ozzy says hi, all.
Hi, Ozzy.
And Richie has to go.
Bye, Richie. Hi, bye. Anyway, I did not do the typical art that a lot of kids did. My biggest pieces that I remember as a kid is from when I was 9 years old. And I am not exaggerating and not trying to put ego on this or anything else. Just the way it was. In 4th grade, my health teacher wanted us to draw different parts of the body. The tooth, ear canal, and eyeball. All the inner workings of it. And I spent hours and hours and hours doing it. But the way I was doing it was trying to make it look exactly like the book. And freaked my teacher out when she saw it because it was exactly like the book. So even as a kid, I was very meticulous and very detailed oriented and not very loose in my art workings. Okay, Brian's got a question real quick. Could you tell me if there is a better quality graphite paper I should be using? What I've been using is impossible to remove from the wood. First of all, are you using basswood? Because basswood tends to be a little harder to remove graphite. What I use is the graphite transfer paper from Walnut Hollow. Oops. Be nice if I actually showed it. That is what this one is transferred with. And let me see here. This does have a bit of an issue removing. And so I do try to do a light hand on transferring. And when I have an issue trying to get it off, this is a mono sanded eraser for ink. I have everything linked down below. I use this sanded eraser with a light hand. It will lighten your burning a little bit because it's sanding the wood. So you do have to be a little careful. And then I go back with my Vanish 4-in-1 eraser. I love this eraser. It is my favoriteest eraser. I use it for everything. In fact, I was going to see if I could find the company. Ask them to send me a bunch since it's always on camera. And going back and forth, and I can get most of the graphite off. If there's a little bit more stubborn graphite, I have these sanding sticks. They call them sanding twigs on Amazon. Basically, they are cut up leftovers of emery boards. And I can get this into a smaller area. And there is 2 different grits on this. The pink is the finer grit. And they do have, this is the finest one they have. And you can use that to clean up the graphite a little bit more. Now that it's light enough for my taste, I can take my pen. I don't want to outline, but this is darker underneath because it's a lip. I can go over that graphite now and blend it in. And you really don't know it's there.
So, yeah, he says basswood.
Basswood, yeah. Basswood in general. There is Serral transfer paper, which I don't know where my...
Wow, Paul Lockwood just mentioned that.
What's that?
Sorrow paper.
Yeah, it's up there.
Where is it?
It's up there.
Where? Okay.
Markers.
What does it look like?
Box. Aluminum foil box.
Oh, that big box?
That big box, yeah.
The whole box?
Yeah, please.
Not just one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
There we go. Sally, wax-free artist graphite paper. This is really light, and for basswood is a better choice. You do have to press a little harder, but it's very, very light. And so this is 12 sheets, 18 by 24. I will find this and link it on my Amazon influencers page and my kit page, just so it's easier to find. So this is another good option.
It's wax free.
And it's wax free. Totally, that's the biggest thing. That's why
totally not wax.
So it's totally not wax. And that's the biggest thing with graphite paper. That's why you don't want to use carbon paper. And you do have to. Some carbon papers say graphite paper, like the Mona Lisa. I am almost positive that has some wax in it. And it's really hard to remove. Okay. So. Let me see here. I'm trying to think. What else? Where did I leave off?
Well, we were talking about art as a kid.
Oh, art as a kid. Well, I basically told it. What are you doing? Oh, goodness. Homework's getting to you, isn't it?
No, look, see? It worked. See, you totally don't have to redo it.
Awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
So, let's see here. We talked about, overall, for your money, I know I rambled a lot, for your money, picking a few fixed tip pins is going to save you a lot of money and time and frustration over the interchangeables. Now, if you like to make your own tips and you don't mind the heat fluctuation, why is it so bright?
I don't know.
No. Then the interchangeables are fine. You don't really need a whole lot of tips unless you're doing, when you're doing flat work. I should say when you're doing flat work like what I do, you don't need 20 different tips. Now, do I have a bunch of pins? Sure I do. I test out different ones. Pat will say, hey, have you tried this pin? And send me one to see what I think of it. In fact, I've got the 2B coming today. It should be here today anyway. To try out and show you guys.
It's supposed to be here.
It's supposed to be. The 2B is to be here. Yep. But it's not that I need all of these pins. Though I will say that they've been, some of these have been really handy since I've been working on lettering, which I hate. I hate doing wood burn lettering.
So,
excuse me.
Mark says, sorry his video caused you any stress.
Oh, no.
It's more like an existential crisis.
Yeah, it was just a... But wait a minute. I didn't play like all the other kids. Did I miss out on something? Did I do something wrong? Because I was... Okay, you just heard the voice in my head come out. That's what it was. It was mostly, did I miss something as a kid? Because the thing is art supplies were very... Most of the art supplies I had as a kid were basically the school supplies. So colored pencils, crayons, shared some 48 pack. I think the 64 pack of crayons was the biggest one. And my grandmother got it for us. And I had to share with my brothers. They weren't mine. They were community crayons. If you
that works
have
out.
2 little brothers, yeah.
That's a lot of broken crayon. That's, you know what that is? That's a recipe for a bag of broken crayons.
Yep, and that's what it was.
With no paper on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And the thing is, they didn't last very long. And I also wasn't one of those kids where, somebody gives them a whole bunch of paint and they just go at it. Or they take their crayon and, wear it down to a nub. I was always so worried about wasting my art supplies that I did have and not being able to replace them, that I was very picky and meticulous on what I used them for and how I used them.
So Vicky Charman has to go.
Bye, Vicky.
Apparently
Thank you for
she
coming.
has to get out of bed.
Oh, I'm about to go to bed.
She lives in New Zealand.
Oh.
So I don't... Whatever. In bed, out of bed in New Zealand. Gonna go outside and take a nap, I guess. I don't know.
Jealous?
Thanks for stopping by, Vicky.
I think you're just jealous.
I love New Zealand.
I know.
I wish we could live there.
So that was my biggest issue, Mark, was wondering if I missed out. And even if I went back to what I did as a kid, other than how far I've progressed in, just my art itself, but in general, it would still be meticulous. It wouldn't be loose. It would probably be animals. And so that's all it was. It was a very good video. Made you think. Made me think anyway. So it was so if you're talking about going back to that time, what would I go back to if I've done pretty much the same thing that I've done since I was a kid. So that's all.
So
that's all.
So if the kids in the playground, if they're playing like grocery store and stuff,
I played private investigator.
Yeah. I was gonna say you would have been like the accountant, like
no, not the
auditing them and stuff.
Oh hell no! Me and simple math are good, but anything above that, No.
That was a serious child.
No, I would have been the cop.
Yeah?
I would have been the cop. I would have been the private investigator.
You'd have been the store. You would have been the store
owner.
I was going to say the store detective.
Store detective.
Checking people for shoplifting while everybody else was just having fun.
Which I guess kind of
for that.
Which fits. Cause
get over to the slide. You're detained. You have the right to remain silent.
Yeah, pretty much. That was me.
Mark says, get you a box of 68 crayons and don't touch them. That's not a bad idea.
I found out that there was 120 box. I want that.
We had a kid that had one of those, and he wouldn't share it.
I didn't know that it ever went up that high.
Rich little... okay.
Wait, but that also explains why I have... explains a bit of why I have full set syndrome, and I want all the colors, and why I have a hard time just making a mess with them. I try. Every Sunday I sit there and try with watercolors. I picked up watercolors because I was like, okay, I do all this tight. I want to do loose.
Who got you started on watercolors anyway?
I've always been interested in
I know, but you're watching some people and you're like, I want to do watercolors like these people.
Steve Mitchell, the Mind of Watercolor, is my biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my biggest one.
What does Soup Can do?
Soup Can is more of an illustrator, but he uses all kinds of
That's
art
what
supplies.
I thought.
Yeah, okay. He's an illustrator.
Sorry.
Nothing wrong with that at all. It's just a different... and he does some wonderful pieces.
Yeah.
It's just a different art. That's all.
The 64 plus boxes had a sharpener on back. That was so freaking...
See, I remember the sharpener.
So freaking cool.
I remember the sharpener. And because I had little brothers, the sharpener just wouldn't have lasted.
Kenny Dion says, I have 150 bucks of Prisma watercolor pencils.
They don't have that many colored water.
His wallet is light, but his heart is full.
No, not watercolor. Those are the...
Prisma.
Yeah, those aren't...
I'm sorry.
They don't have...
I about got you on the internet, didn't I? You're like, I must have those.
Sorry, I'm going to have to show. Why not?
Tiny Clark says, has anyone experienced with Bren Peterwood burners? They seem to be available in Finland.
Richie has a video on reviewing it, and Richie did not stick with that burner for very long. I wish he was still in here. Head over to Richie's channel. I will link that also. It's Ricardo, and I can't say his name.
Ricardo Coelho?
I don't know.
There's an H in there.
Hold on. I know I can spell it. Not with that pen.
I'm not lying, Grace. You know what? Grace? You know what you get for that?
Uh-oh.
I'll tell you what you get for
Uh-oh.
that. Bernadette, come here.
All right. So
Grace wants to see you.
This is the medium ball tip. Let's see here for the Optima. It does heat the quickest. The Optima ball tips. All right, so Ricky's last name. E.
Oh, Eve just linked in chat.
Ugh. I was doing this.
She's got a wrench.
Pretty. I was doing it all pretty.
Well, Eve beat you to it.
She did. Now I'm just kind of stuck doing it.
I was gonna say you're gonna just finish it to the bitter end now, aren't you?
Yes.
Welcome to our channel about burning letters on wood.
Again. So if you don't see chat, check out Ricky's channel. Okay, so he was talking about his box of Prismacolor. Okay. Now I got this.
Okay. Remember how I felt when I was a poor kid, though?
I got this. I know.
I know. Don't be that way.
Okay. I got the colors too, though. And I got other ones. I'll stop there, though. But you're right. And I'm not doing that to make anybody jealous. It was more of my competitive side with Paul of going, well, wait a minute. I got him, too.
But that wasn't Paul.
I'm sorry, Kenny.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry. So that was my competitive side. But,
you have a competitive side?
A little bit.
Huh. I wouldn't have thought it. That's weird. I
I
never thought of you driven a competitive in any way. Strange.
Let's see, get it to focus real quick, hopefully. There we go. There we go. So this is a leaf. I'm still working on.
Kenny says that's the one he has.
Yeah. I got lucky. I saw somebody else's post.
I heard from Heather in a while.
Huh. I got mine. I ordered mine the day, Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. And they happened to be on sale for $49 for the full 150.
What?
That's why I bought them. I mean, I do very much like Prismacolor, but I already had 120 in my pastel box. But for $49, yeah.
Okay, look at Mark's comment.
What does Mark say?
Oh, Kenny says if you want to be competitive, well, you can see it.
Well, I don't use Copic markers, but I can show you all my Prismacolor markers.
We'd rather you did.
You want to go there, Kenny? We can go there.
Oh, no.
And how about the pastel pencils? Or pan pastels?
I thought we were burning flowers.
I'm just playing with Kenny. I'm not trying to make anybody jealous. The only reason I bought the 150 set is because I figured there was a few colors I didn't have, and because I do have the old set from 2006, and for that price, I mean, yeah.
Apparently Grace is all into this. She's like, yes, show me the pretty stuff. Oh, so you'd like to see Bernadette again. Okay.
I did that too hot. But because of how this wood is sanded, remember this wood didn't sand very well. The basswood came off very easily.
Eve says that she thinks that she has everybody beat for watercolors, though.
Really?
Wah.
Really, Grace? Or, I'm sorry, Grace. Eve.
Where are you going? Oh, God.
He went there.
You kinda,
he so went there.
You kind of became a Muppet there for a second. You know that, right? You're like...
I had to be careful how I open this.
What?
Because... Turn that off. Eve said he thinks he's got his beat on watercolors.
Wait, us? Why are you dragging me into this?
Well, us as in...
Oh.
So this is just my storage container for my tubes.
This is a Pyrography channel. Oh,
I got paints.
Oh God.
No, Grace, I do not have.
Mark says, take cover, everyone.
No, I don't have all of the Daniel Smith, but I have all the Daniel Smith Primatech. So, oh, sorry.
Sorry for anybody wearing headphones just now.
Sorry. So, yeah, I've got lots of tubes.
Yeah, I got lumped in, Grace.
I had to. Eve did that on purpose. I know what Eve was doing. She intentionally did that.
I don't think that was a challenge.
Yes, it was.
You know what? This reminds me of a story.
Yes, it was.
This reminds me of a story of me and Grandma Betty in her Ford Bronco in Alaska. So we're at a stoplight.
I'm not your Grandma Betty.
No, but it's relevant. Just hear me out here. So we're at a stoplight. I'm like, I don't know, 18, and Grandma Betty is like, well, she's my grandma, so she's a little bit older. Okay, so she's sitting at a stop sign, and there's like this Camaro next to us, and this Camaro, like in Alaska, it gets cold sometimes, and sometimes you need to rev the engine. So this Camaro like revved his engine, right? Just like, you know, not in a threatening way. But Grandma Betty looks over at this Camaro, and she's like, "You want to go, sucker?" And she starts revving the engine.
My grandma did it too.
Anyway, so we peeled out of the traffic light, and the Camaro was just like sitting back there because they were not racing and not competing. Does that apply? It could. I don't know.
My grandma did the same thing. Yeah. And I will do the same thing with our granddaughter.
Okay, MP Langer says, Val, now I totally understand the comment you left in my video.
Yes, yeah. I like the colors. But I think that kind of goes back to what Mark started having me think. I never...
Put it back on you, Mark.
Well, no, Mark didn't do a bad thing. Thinking good. But in my defense, all of these art supplies can be used with my burning. What?
Why do you have... You don't have Beanie Babies. Why do you have all these Beanie Babies? Well, in my defense, all these Beanie Babies can be transported in my vehicle. That is true.
I never did Beanie Babies.
I'm just saying, it's parallel.
But I wanted to make sure that I had options. As a kid, I didn't have options, and that's good because it makes you really figure things out. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it also kind of...
Well, I would say too...
made me want to work for things that...
On a serious note, we were both pretty poor growing up, and so, you know, it's, I think one of the things that, you know, that you never really had access to art supplies, and so now that you can get them, you do get them.
As a kid, I had no idea there was even an art supply store.
Yeah, and you're very generous. Like I had my eyes on this Aztec airbrush for years. It's a special edition. It's chrome. It's a beautiful airbrush, and I never got it because it was expensive. And Val found it. I think she found a deal on it, but shit showed up, and
it's for your birthday.
Yeah, it was like amazing. So she is equally as generous as she is a art supply hoarder.
I am not a hoarder.
I gotta remember not to say things like that when you have something hot in your hand.
I'm not a hoarder. I'm trying to make sure I get some good light here.
Jacqueline Stevens is here.
Hi, Jacqueline.
Mark's gonna sigh.
Why am I not getting good focus? It's bugging me.
You've lost your focus.
I did. Let's try that. Okay, that's a little better. Now, I got that in the way. Alright. This is just I'm just moving around my reference photo.
Grace has a dog?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I get they're always talking about cats in chat.
Okay, well, I think I need to wrap up what was supposed to be the discussion on fixed versus interchangeable. And I will, let's see here. I need to finish the bridle hangers and then work on my special piece that's due May 10th. But somewhere I will get more work done on this one as well, just so we can be further ahead next week.
Well, Soup Can says, "Oh my God, I had the original Aztec when it came out.
Loved it. 470?
No, 470 is the advanced one. Yeah, I love the Aztecs, and they're not really that known.
Trying to work on that.
But they are really good brushes. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. But I find them a lot easier to deal with than some of the higher end. Well, I won't say higher end, but some of the more popular brands. So.
And airbrush can work with burning.
Yes, it can. We proved that. We did a joint project together.
We did. It's hanging on the wall.
We did a Valarie Jason joint.
We did. All right. So, quick recap.
Grace says, "I love all animals." I do too, Grace.
Fixed tip versus interchangeable. Your money will be best spent with a few fixed tip. With a few fixed tip pins versus a lot of interchangeable pins. You will have more stability with your fixed tip pins. You won't have to worry about screws. I really hate having to do that.
Nobody gets that.
You don't have to worry about connections not being made correctly. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is when you're switching out the tips for razor tip on the interchangeables, if you get these binding posts too close together, the pin will not work. It will short itself out. You can also break that plastic piece inside that holds the brass. So even with a light hand, you have a pretty good chance of causing damage.
So
the one plus on this pin, and I have not tried it yet. One reason that I bought interchangeable is because supposedly you can put 2 tips into here to burn 2 different lines at the same time. I need to test that.
That's gonna require a lot more heat.
It is gonna require a lot more heat now that you said, yep. So I'm not gonna test it because this pin already gets too damn hot.
And that vent there is I mean, I know it vents heat, but if there's no place for that heat to go, something's gonna give.
So no matter what direction you turn your pin, that damn vent's there. Anyway, so scratch that. Don't do that because, yes, you're right. It's going to take a lot more heat to heat up 2 different tips. But they do advertise it as a possibility.
So,
but it's not a smart possibility.
Before you go, Kenny has a thing here. Well, Eve says there's a good gap between collecting and using materials and hoarding.
Yep.
I see that. Well, whatever makes you sleep good at night.
I am using.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Eve. I'm kidding, Val. Let's see. Kenny Dion says top 5 tip shapes for fixed tip that you can't live without. And go.
And go. For only shading or shapes? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And we were looking for banana. I'm so sorry. Thank you for playing.
The 18 medium spear shader, the 17 coarse hair, and the small medium. Let me go this way. Large ball tips.
Okay.
Those are my top 5. And these are all my Optima pins. And then I also do like the micro point, which is like a really, really small, ball tip. And the pinpoint. The 9MP and 9PP. Yeah, I did that on purpose. So, These are good additions. This is a good pen. I just don't tend to use it.
Kenny says thanks.
Mm-hmm. And I tend to go...
Grace says, I thought the torch would be the correct answer. Well, you know, Grace, it would be for me.
Yeah, I know. And this is the 18M or 18L. I tend, though it doesn't feel thick.
Grace, no.
I tend to like this one better.
Eve loves the multi-foam handled one. Maybe you should talk about that because that is kind of unique.
Oh, the only thing, this was for $1 extra. You can get extra foam put on the Optima pens, and that's for those who burn really hot and heavy. Gourd work.
I don't hear Heather.
I know.
Anyway.
Gourd work, hot, black burning. This is to help just control the heat better. It is not as comfortable to use because it's so much bigger all the way. I'm talking to him about not putting this last one on and doing a thinner one here, and I think that would be perfect. But for those who do gourds, I can see why this would be necessary.
I think it looks cool. I would order all my tips like that.
No, you know what? No, it's just
sometimes we sacrifice for fashion, Valarie.
But it's not as comfortable. Here, you feel.
Grace.
You feel.
Huh?
You feel.
Okay.
So anyway.
Stop saying you feel. You feel. You feel.
You feel.
Yep. I'm sold on all of it.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So, when trying to decide, you don't need all the tips that they have. You really don't need them. There are a lot of redundancies. It's a waste of money. Sooner or later, you will be replacing your interchangeable pins because they will stop working because connections aren't being as made or not as stable. Especially with razor tip, those have micro welds in them. Actually, so do the fixed tip, but... I know these cost more. Actually, I need to have...
Kenny wants to know if these foam thingies are removable.
For the Optima, technically they're removable. But you really have to fight them, please.
Yeah, they're really
They're not meant to slide. I know the razor tip does that.
Val says, or not Val, Grace says, Val, you do these things on purpose.
I assure
you she doesn't.
I didn't do nothing.
She has no idea, but it's still funny.
What I do?
Huh? Just some things you say.
Oh, okay.
You're killing Grace.
Oh, okay. Well.
And I haven't seen Heather, so Heather may have already...
She may have to step out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these aren't... Yes, you can, but you really have to fight. And Pat said there's a technique to pulling them off. I don't remember what they are, and I'm not interested. It doesn't help when you're back there giggling and removing this pad. Haha.
Hey, don't just yank.
I yanked. So, a few pins in fixed tip, whatever brand you choose. The Optima pins are the best ones. Are going to go a lot further than your interchangeables.
Oh my god.
You're right by the mic too.
I'm sorry.
You okay?
Yeah.
So do we have any more questions?
I don't know.
Did we miss anything? Because I always go back and somehow we miss something.
I don't know.
I don't know what wood burning tool and finish would be. Then again, I don't know finish. Did I break Grace? Normally it's Grace and Heather trying to break me and Eve. But this time I broke Grace. Alright.
Amazing.
Got anything else, Liv?
I do not. But Grace says she cannot breathe.
I know, that's what I'm talking about.
Why do you say things the way that you do? That is your question.
Because that's just the way I am. So I will try to work on this more next week so we can get into the lighter areas and have more contrast built up. Fixed tip will go a lot further for your money and you'll be happier in the end. Hey! Oh, Patricia, you've seen... Oh, yes, Mark.
Yeah, what is that?
You've seen... Patricia, you've seen Bernadette. Bernadette, this is Patricia. Patricia, this is Bernadette.
So, Mark has a question.
Mm-hmm.
When is the Oblivious prequel coming
out?
Oh my god, that's like that hasn't even been on my mind.
Yeah, I know.
That's out of left field there, Sukan.
Well, when Corinne comes this summer, I think I'll push you guys to.
Oh yeah, we could probably film something.
Yeah. Because it could start off being Corinne's bunny.
Oh.
And go evil.
Yeah.
Evil. All right. So I think that's everything. Fixed tip is way to go. You don't need to spend all your money on 100 tips or even 20.
Well, if you wondered what wood burning is in Finnish, that's on the chat.
Oh, is it? Not that I could ever pronounce it. It looks like pony nails because my eyes are blurry from looking at.
Not even close.
But I know it's not close, but that's what my eyes saw. That's what my eyes saw. Okay. I think we've got everything. Thank you so much for putting up with me today and the technical issues from the beginning. I'm so sorry about that. Hopefully I answered everything.
That's a good input from lots of the toasties. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Paul had a lot of good info.
Yes. Yes, that is if your machine can take fixed tips. From what I understand, based on the wiring, Peter Charles may not be a choice for you. So, if you have something other than razor tip and it doesn't have fixed tips, you can use the Optima.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thanks guys. My brain's fried. It's nap time. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hugs to all of you. If you're new here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Those are down here. I will try to pop some stuff in the iCard up here. All of the supplies are down in the description down there. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you prefer, fixed tip or interchangeable, and what brand you like. Happy burning, guys. Bye.